Hello, you multi minuscule molecules. Aren't we all minuscule molecules? And welcome to Ralphie Review 1038 Extras, in which I provide extra content, extra opinion, extra perspective, extra information, and much of it actually relates to what I'm currently kind of reviewing in the main reviews, the non-extra reviews. And that includes at the moment a bottle that I bought at auction for £50 of, and by the way, the price I'm giving you is the full price, not just the bidding price, it's the price plus commission. £50 for this, a single cask, Demerara rum from Guyana, matured for some period of time in a Glenrothes cask, an single malt Scotch whisky cask. And it's a little bit rough around the edges, it's relatively young, but it's gutsy, it's full of character, and it's not a rum that I'm going to be put to waste. This will last, particularly bottled at 62% volume. It's going to last absolutely years, if not decades. And during that time, I'll probably be buying some more Demerara rum. And I want to tell you about that style of rum, particularly if you're a whisky drinker. And I highly recommend for all you whisky drinkers and single malt Scotch whisky fans, go and spend a bit of time, refresh yourself, go on a holiday, go and check out the rum channels. There's plenty of rum channels out there. And one of the nice things about the rumsters is that they kind of generally have a sense of fun about what they're presenting, and an infectious level of enthusiasm, which I do commend them for. Sometimes I do notice in the whisky scene there's too much reverence going on for brands. Brands are put on pedestals, and frankly, they don't really earn it. And I just want to kind of call that out to a certain extent. Maybe more about that later. Maybe room for a rant at some point. So, I want to tell you about Demerara rum. This is a classic example of the Demerara style. And the Demerara style is a mid-flavour theme between the lighter, particularly column still, light agricole or sugarcane juice rum, because you've got that, the sugarcane juice, freshly squeezed from the sugarcane and fermented as is, or alternatively it can be processed, it can be concentrated, it can be made a lot more storable, because fresh sugarcane does not last, it really doesn't. And therefore it gets turned into molasses. And the majority of flavours of British, particularly Navy rum, the British style tends to be more molasses, and you find these very high-end, high-ester molasses rums coming from the likes of Jamaica, and particularly Hampden Distillery. So, the somewhere in between is the, excuse me, I'm getting distracted here. There is a bird in the bothy. I went out, left the door open, I've come back in, I went to the stream for a pee, right? I've come back in, and there is a bird here in the bothy. So I'm just going to have to ignore it, but I can't because it's bothering me, so I better go on with this video and just be stoic about it. You probably won't even hear it. It's fluttering about up in the rafters there, and I can't see it because of the suppression covers. I have bed sheets there to suppress the noise, to remove the echoiness. Let's move on. Quick. Muscovado is a style of sugar you'll find in supermarkets, used by bakers for adding soft caramel flavours to bakery products. It adds soft caramel flavours to rum. It is really a style that is sourced in Guyana, which is part of South America, but considered in part of the Caribbean circle of rum makers. The primary brand for a Demerara rum experience is El Dorado. Eldorado, you get the 3 and the 5, the 8, 12, 15, 21, and if you've got deep pockets, you may even find the 25-year-old version. In my opinion, the best version is the 15-year-old at 46%. It is a delicious, consistent rum, and I must commend Eldorado as a brand because they are more consistent in the quality of their bottling than a number of Scotch single malt distillers that I could mention, but let's move on. You already know who they are. There used to be dozens of distilleries in Guyana, but they've consolidated over the years for a number of reasons, primarily economic and political and the rest of it. So what you have now is essentially one big super distillery which contains many of the stills that's been adopted from the demolished or repurposed distilleries. And a few to name are Port Morant, Enmore, Versailles, Diamond, which are now really the names of the stills themselves, essentially, when you're talking to the rumsters. And there's a Dutch named one called, it looks like Ugvlit, right? It's pronounced Ivlite, okay? So when you're looking at collectible rums, you will find that the likes of Versailles, for example, the Versailles stills, they're up in a pedestal. They're up there with Cabernet, for example, with collectors. So they tend to, you know, get super price premiumed. So when you see Eldorado bottlings, which are kind of collector's edition, take it from me, they're overpriced. They'll be good rums, but they are way overpriced for what they are. Look out for them at auctions. Really, the only collectible rum at the moment of any significance is Cabernet, purely because it's a Trinidadian heavy rum, which is not the style of Trinidad at the moment, so they made the mistake of shutting down a perfectly good, productive, characterful distillery. So sad, too bad, never mind. Back to the extras. One of the traditional British brands, which used to a certain extent, provide the Muscovado experiences, OVD. OVD stands for Old Vatted Demerara. Let me give you some advice here, just practical advice. I know about these things. I used to buy OVD regularly. It was a fantastic cask strength, amazing flavoursome rum that went great with tonic water. Not now, no. If you're buying OVD, buy it at auction. Go at auction for them. Don't buy them off the shelf now. Along with Lambs and Watsons and Woods, they're now really generic brands. They're not what they were because they just don't have the quality of stocks that they used to get. And there you have it. I think that's enough for now. I'm now getting, oh, I can see the bird. It's a blackbird. Hello, sweetheart. That's the same bird that flew into my greenhouse and it took me half an hour to capture her. She is an absolutely nosy little blackbird, and frankly, I don't deserve this. See you nuisance. You're stirring, you're knocking all the dust down. I clean this bothy once every 5 years for a reason. Hey, thanks for watching. Cheers. If you're getting into rum, take your time. Go for the basics, don't overpay. And if you're a whiskey fan, I'll give you one primary reason I recommend it. One primary reason. Malternative. Challenge your palate. Explore. It's like listening to music. You can listen to heavy metal till the cows come home, but you'll never understand heavy metal until you listen to Bach and Handel. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Any musos out there, you'll know what I'm saying. Cheers.